already comfortable in your slippers. Good segue into. I think you need to be a little bit more forward though. Try putting your foot like that and coming perfect. That works. Cool. First episode. What do you want to call it?
Let me think. We can call it.
I was thinking across the left. You think that's a good one?
Our Friday's fantasies.
No.
Okay. Let's see.
Oh, you want to talk about your class?
My class.
Who'd you take it with? What's the guy's name?
Are we
Chris?
recording right now?
We are recording.
Oh, okay. So I took this thing called Say No to Slow with Chris Birch, who's from New Zealand, well-known rider. It was a class for big adventure bikes in Cedartown, Georgia. 14 people.
And I overheard he did the Dakar.
He played. Yeah, he did the Dakar. I think back in the maybe 2012 or something. I asked him if he was going to do it again. He said, nah, it didn't really do a whole lot for him. He said what was pretty funny was all the guys who got out front, they go to the first couple of towns and they buy all the sponges they can find because the seats are so uncomfortable. They tape the sponges to the seat, and by the time he got there wasn't a sponge in Africa. So he said I had to sit on the seat or stand on the seat the whole time. But yeah, I asked him about the Dakar. He's a personable guy, and he's really good at explaining the nuances of how you ride a motorcycle in general, but all applicable to riding in the dirt, riding in the slippery conditions, and
big bikes.
Riding big bikes, big adventure bikes. Yeah. So
nice.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Enjoyed it. That's why I have 2 different shoes on today, because I
only one fits.
Had a bit of a mishap and I got stuck in a rut. Bike never fell over, but just kind of pinned me in there. So
yeah. Nice. You want to talk any more about that?
I just want to say that I think it's important that people take some kind of courses on a regular basis, no matter how much you've done something. I haven't taken an off-road course probably 10 years. Before that was probably another 10 years. When I road raced, I used to take road race courses pretty regularly, but that was a long time ago, and we were racing regularly. So I think learn how to drive in the dirt, even now when you go to racing school, the first day you spend on the bike is in the dirt, because it's easy for them to show you balancing and counterbalancing and how a motorcycle works. When you fall down, you just get dirty instead of getting rashed up. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think if you like riding in the woods, and I like riding in the woods, then you always run up against situations that you need to deal with, whether it's a fallen tree, a water crossing, a bunch of mud,
And he rode your bike.
He did ride my bike. Yeah, he said he.
Your R100.
Oh, it's an R80 GS with an R100 motor in it, but it's an R80 GS. Okay. It's a monolever. It's not a power lever. It's not a power lever though. Okay. They're a different bike.
But it's got the tank of an R100 and the seat of an R100. And
the seat's off an R80. The tank's off an R100, but that's all the same. Yeah. He said that he would much rather ride my bike than ride a new 1250, which is what Bill Whitaker said. Our buddy Bill, who we built the bike for.
Who we got a question from.
Right. He said the same thing. He said he felt like his R80 GS that we built for him, STGS, handled just as well as his new BMW did.
Yeah. It's a good advertisement.
Yep.
All right. Questions. Advice for young guys getting into the motorcycle industry.
In terms of feeding your cats by making money, or what's the aspect there? Picking up women? I mean, what's the...
I chose this one because I wanted to quote you, and the best advice you've ever given me, which is...
This was my dad, not me.
Yeah, it's just as easy to fall in love with a rich girl.
Yes, it is a poor one. Yeah, that's Well, we'll probably catch a bunch of shit for
Yeah.
that. But you know, it was something just in passing. My dad said, you know, he also said, it's not what you know, but who you know, and that certainly is true. Turned
That
out
is
to
true.
be, you know, when you need something done, you you go to the person who's in charge, or the person who knows. So you know, that's another one.
And then Bill asked, riding. What are your thoughts on riding the BDR on an R80 or R100?
I think you can ride the R100 on the BDR or the Trans-America Trail or wherever you want to. I mean, I ride it in the woods
Yeah.
wherever I want to, and I have with Leslie on the back too up, and I think that it all, you know, it's all a matter of what you feel confident doing. But in general,
How gnarly is it?
well, different parts, you know, they have parts that are very technical, and then they have workarounds where you don't have to ride that. You can take the easy way around. And so, you know, we had a customer here recently who just rode the one in Wyoming, and he said, I'm not riding anything technical. I don't want to fall down. I just want to be in the woods, which is kind of the same way I feel. I want to be in the woods because I enjoy, you know, being out in nature and not having a bunch of people and a bunch of noise. And if I fall down, nobody runs me over. But I also want to be as prepared as I can for whatever I come up against, which is one of the reasons I took the course. So
Yeah.
you can learn, you know, and then you teach yourself a lot of stuff. But you need to be able to pick and choose your battles. So, you know, if you come to a creek crossing, and it's a foot deep and you can see from one end to the other, you know, that's fine. But if you go to a crossing that's just rained and it's raging and it's 3 foot and there's nobody else around you, maybe you need to think about finding another way around. So, I mean, you know, the bike itself is more than capable. I mean, I've been lots of places with that bike. You know, I rode out and I did that off-road school with at Rawhide Adventure with Jim Hyde a while back, and we spent 2 days in Mojave Desert. We rode this Paiute Indian reservation, and there was a bunch of people, and I was on the only bike that had a carburetor, and it did as good as anybody else's. I mean, you know, it's just like anything. Guys could ride a old Schwinn 3-speed. If they can ride, they can ride it good as a guy with a, you know, new carbon fiber bike. It may not go as fast, but I think all the airheads, the R100, any of the airheads can be set up to ride. I mean, you're not doing jumps and all that kind of stuff. If you are, that's a little different situation. But I mean, you can take any of the airheads and ride them. I think the R80 GS is a perfectly well-suited bike if you set it up for you, like we did for Bill. Set the sag in the front and the back, and make the bike ready to go in situations where there'll be water crossings and mud and so on and so forth. They're easy to maintain, easy to fix. You know, whereas the newer bikes are all electronic. There's not a whole lot you can do. Your toolkit's pretty much your telephone. So
Yeah.
I think the R80 GS, R80 ST, R100 is a great bike for doing any of that stuff. You know, biggest drawback is probably the carburetors in terms of how low they are to the ground, but you know, you can still get across pretty deep water. Bill sent us a picture of him up here outside of Helen, Georgia,
Yeah.
with all that water. So,
Have you ever done a wheelie on an airhead in your younger?
yeah, I mean,
I mean, it would be
the whole,
hard,
not you know. One of the things that we did at the class is you learn how to use the bike to lift the front wheel to get over obstacles.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference between lifting and.
Yeah, I don't inadvertently go out and do it. I mean,
But have you ever done one?
oh yeah, I mean, any bike's capable. Any of the airheads are capable of doing it. You know, you wind it up and let the clutch out. You drop yourself down. You standing up and you drop yourself down on the pegs on the seat to get a bunch more traction as you twist the wick and kind of pull up at the same time. Yeah, but I mean, it's not particularly good for the motorcycle. Occasionally it's not a problem, but I mean, inadvertently we did it all the time when we were road racing. We weren't doing it on purpose. We were doing it just because we were trying to go as fast as we could.
Yeah.
So we would, and I started out, my first bike that I built was a R90S race bike. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Next question. Favorite BMW model? The R80 GS, right?
I don't necessarily, I mean, you know, I like the pre-70 stuff. I like the post-70 stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have a favorite. In terms of practicality, that's a different story. You know, my GS set up now that it works well on the road, reasonably well. I mean, it's a 40-year-old motorcycle and it works reasonably well in the dirt. You're never going to have one that's going to be great at both things. It's a compromise.
Yeah.
So I've spent the time, I've driven across the country half a dozen times on that bike.
What final drive do you have? Because you have a 17-inch,
Yeah, I have a
Wheel.
3210 in there.
but it's not a paralever.
No, it's off a monolever bike, 85 to 95.
Oh, okay.
Four lug, because that wheel's a 4-lug.
Yeah.
So the power lever wheel will fit on a monolever 4-lug rear drive or a power lever 4-lug rear drive.
Even though one's cast and one it doesn't.
Well, I'm not using a cast wheel. I'm using the spoke wheel. Either one fits, but the bolt pattern's the same. Yes.
Okay. Did you have to offset anything?
Yes.
Okay.
Those are trade secrets. I can't let you know that. I have to tell
Okay.
you.
That makes sense. More power. Big bore kit, bad for crankshaft?
No.
Garrett asked, do y'all work on K-Likes?
No.
He only works here.
There could be somebody else named Garrett.
That's just a joke. Cool. All right. Done for this week. We'll
Okay.
see how the editing
I
goes.
think for next week,
Shirtless. Give the people what they want.
are you continuing to ask for questions for
I
us?
might. I was just gonna see how this all goes.
Okay, so
I feel like we actually did a lot of time talking about stuff that wasn't questions. And
I kind of so I kind of think like if we're gonna do Fridays with Mikey,
Nathan
Yeah.
and Mikey.
right?
Across the lift with Nathan and Mikey.
Okay, I think if we do that, then we should just sit down and talk about whatever we've on our mind that day. Either
Yeah.
something that went on there in the shop, something that somebody's asked us to do that we're trying to do, something that we've done that we, didn't think we could do or, we hadn't done before.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
People who stop by and, what they do for a living or something, I'm guessing we're just trying to, in a sense, explain to people what we do in the shop.
Yeah.
So it's whatever, we want to talk about, bad customers who come in or good customers who come in, or what happened this week. So are we trying to do kind of like a compilation of the week on each Friday? What happened this week? Oh, Jim's bike came in, it only ran on one cylinder and it turned out to be, or oh, this other guy's bike came in and he had spark, but it wouldn't run because he had so much moly on the spark plugs, he wasn't getting any ground.
Yeah,
And
I think that's a good idea. We could see where it goes. Why don't we just?
So we got to bring the work orders and put them on the table and go, all right. It's like Johnny Carson when they gave him questions, they gave him the answers.
Yeah.
He would say they would give him the answer and then he'd give him the question. The great Karnak.
Yeah.
Right. So I could hold one on and go 3 degrees before top dead center, and you can go. Is that the correct setting for, whatever that kind of thing.
Sounds good. All right. Cool. Thank you.
Okay, so